Dickie V would say, it's March Madness, baby, BTP. You know what, by the way, I want to start off with a little rant. Hey, I watched a college basketball game this weekend with Dick Vitale doing the commentary. And I was annoyed as all get out. What do you guys think of Dickie V? I mean, he's doing the same shit he was doing 40 years ago, and it's still as annoying as ever.
A little bit of Dick Vitale goes a long way.
Oh, man, I can't remember the last time I heard him do a game, and it was terrible. Oh. And it was a good game, but he just couldn't stop talking about this one guy, Cunningham on Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham, going to be the top pick, I guess. But it was like a 3-hour infomercial on this poor guy.
Are you saying, wait a second, are you saying that Dick Vitale is the Pierre Maguire of basketball?
Ooh, good analogy. Yes. So, hey, it's the Stadium Journey podcast. We're part of the VOC Nation Radio Network. You know, follow us on our social media channels. Go to our website, stadiumjourney.com. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. We're all over the place. And if you want to find our podcast, type in VOC Nation Radio Network into your podcast search app, or just look under the podcast tab on the website. And all of our old video podcasts are on our Stadium Journey YouTube channel. If you want to binge watch, just like we're going to binge watch March Madness, that's the place to go. And some of you are already there now, but if you're watching us later, every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, we stream live on twitch.tv/danlaw83. And we have the whole crew is with us tonight. We got Dave Cotney with us. Follow him on social medias at ProFan9. Mark Viquez is here. You can follow him at Ballpark Hunter. Our producer, Dan Calachico, is here. You can follow him online at DanLaw83. And I am Paul Baker. You can follow me online at PuckmanRI. Or you could follow my new clones, apparently, that I have on Instagram. And tonight, you know, it's embarrassing when you get somebody clones your account and then one of your employers says, hey, what are you doing asking me for money?
I've never seen that on Instagram yet. Somebody cloning.
Yeah, I don't even really know what clone is. I got to check it out. But this morning when I woke up at 6 o'clock, I had a message from my daughter. It says, Dad, I think you got hacked. Somebody messaged me and said, hello, dear. And I said, hey. She said, hey, F you. My dad doesn't talk to me, doesn't call me dear. So she blocked him and reported him. And all day long, all I'm going to be getting messages, hey, I think you got hacked. I think you got cloned. Yeah,
the moment it came up, I was like, well, that's not Paul, so I'm not even going to address that. I was out on that.
What are you talking about? Paul calls us dudes all the time.
Dudes, and I call people dear, and I ask everybody for money all the time.
I didn't even read the profile. I was just like, he just posted this picture. I'm out.
So what do? They like take a screenshot of your thing and make a new account?
It's rampant on Twitter and on Instagram where I don't know what the end game is, but they'll take your pictures and other pictures from your account and they will create an alternate profile. And I don't know if they're using it to spam people or check passwords or to.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it's to get money out of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a text. I got a text today. What did it say? It said, will you be taking the coronavirus vaccine when it is your time, yes or no? And with a link, I was like, yeah, let me type yes for you, and then visit that link. So, no. So I just deleted. I threw it in my spam. Phones now have spam folders for text messages, if you didn't know. So I sent that sucker right to the spam. I was like, nope. No, thank you.
So enough about my problems with technology. Tonight, we've got an interesting topic. At least we think it's interesting, the four of us. So, if you guys like it, great. If you don't like it, listen to us anyway. So we are going to be talking about the most unique March Madness tournament, possibly of all time, because in 2021, because of the pandemic, the entire March Madness tournament is taking place in the cradle of basketball, the state of Indiana. All the games are happening at 6 venues, if I remember right. We got, what do we got? Lucas Oil Stadium. We got the Indiana Fairgrounds. We've got Hinkle Auditorium.
This is where Mark would really help.
I got it. I got you here. So Lucas Oil Stadium, they're going to have 2 courts in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh, are they playing at the same time?
No, not at the same
that
time.
would be awesome.
That'd be kind of awesome. Yeah.
That'd
Would be the best. I take it back. This tournament sucks.
So yeah, Lucas Oil Stadium, home of the Colts. Bankers Life Fieldhouse, home of the Indiana Pacers. Hinkle Fieldhouse on the campus of Butler University. Indiana Farmers Coliseum, home of Ooey Pooey. Mackey Arena in West Lafayette, home of Purdue. And Mark, maybe you can say the name because I don't think I can say the name at Indiana. Simon somebody Assembly Hall.
Scott, right?
Yeah, it's the Scott Hall. It's pronounced
with a J.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's silent.
The silent J.
Silent
So there
J.
you go.
It's Norwegian.
So those are your venues.
I actually read an article the other day that said in the state of Indiana over the next month and a half, there are going to be between all the different tournaments going on, I forget the number, insane number of basketball games, 400 something.
God. Yeah, there is going to be quite a bit of basketball, and I guess if you're going to pick a state in the country, this will be it. Because right now, tonight is when the high school tournament starts, and all our other gigantic gyms across the state. So once that's done, you're going to have the Final Four. I'm sorry, the tournament plus the Final Four. So should be pretty exciting. It'd be great if more fans could attend games, but those will be hot tickets, and maybe, just maybe, I'll get to one of those games. I'm not quite sure.
So I'm glad you brought up attendance, Mark, because I think the NCAA said 25% capacity for all the buildings. Is that correct?
Is it 25%? Let me see.
Dave, you're usually on top of that stuff.
It sounds about right.
I did get an email from the NCAA.
25.
Today.
It is 25.
I got an email from the NCAA asking me if I wanted to enter the lottery. Asking me if I wanted to enter the lottery.
There's a lottery. Yeah, and it says, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
If you don't want to go to the Big Ten or to the NCAA tournament, you could go the week before to the Big Ten tournament, which is also in Indianapolis and also at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I forgot about that as well. Yeah, 25%. I think that includes all participants and essential staff and family members. So I think with media, if I'm requesting a media pass, I don't think I'll make the cut because they're limited. They're limited to what they can do this year. So
yeah, and Stadium Journey, unfortunately, is still a little ways down on the totem pole.
I know. Yeah,
I don't know
we're
what they're
definitely
thinking.
down. Yeah, I don't think they ever given us Big Ten passes. I think one year we asked and they told us then we were low on the totem pole. Could you imagine now?
I know. I mean, we have made some inroads, but yeah, with the pandemic,
Yeah.
I think we're far below the dividing line. So, some of these, most of these are in Indianapolis proper, Mark. If you want, we want to give our listeners a geography lesson. Purdue is not in Indianapolis, though, is it?
No, Purdue is
Up in Chicago, isn't it?
No, we're about 50 miles away from. Yeah, I can get to Lafayette in about an hour. I would say we're closer to Indy than Chicago. It's up on 69. So if
Nice.
65. Yeesh.
Oh, darn it.
I say, yeah, that's Fort
Paul
Wayne.
and I
Fort
both
Wayne's
went for it, and we screwed it up anyway. Damn it.
Fort Wayne's up 69. If you look at Indianapolis, you look at the northwest towards Chicago. Purdue is almost halfway in between Chicago and Indianapolis, but it's a little bit closer to Indy. A good hour from downtown, depending on traffic. For me, it's an hour, and I think between that and Bloomington, where IU is at, probably about the same distance. IU might be a little bit closer from downtown Indianapolis, but if you're asking me my opinion, Mackey Arena is the better place for basketball. Just ticked off all my IU friends.
Question from the floor real quick, probably ahead of time, but I'm sure we're going to get there. But Tim Capper wants to know, so I'm asking it. if there is an outbreak of COVID in teams, etc. Curious to know what the NCAA plan is. Will the teams have to forfeit or sit?
I do know the answer to this.
Well, why don't you give us the answer there, Paul Baker?
I want to. You have to pay me. No, seriously. They just announced what they're going to be doing for the NIT tournament, and they're going to be holding that in Texas. And the top 4 seeds of the NIT. Texas right now.
I'm not laughing at the idea. I was laughing at Texas, and not because of the people, because of the people running it. Moving on.
But the top 4 teams in the NIT, the top 4 seeds, will be insurance teams for the NCAA tournament. So if somebody opts out or has to bow out because of COVID, they're going to slip one of those 4 teams in.
Okay, that seems safe with everything going on.
More travel, more teams.
No, it's fine. You know what? Have an all-star game too.
They are.
No, I know.
Hey, I can just speak from my own personal experience. I'm wearing the hat of the University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth Corsairs, the top seed in the Little East Conference tournament, which is going on now. The tournament was supposed to be over Sunday. We played our first game in the tournament yesterday, and there's only 4 teams in the tournament. I actually don't think this was COVID related. The official word was that there was an unforeseen travel emergency with the Rhode Island College team, which set our game back. So now we're playing the championship game on Thursday.
That sucks. Oof.
Yeah. So if you're wondering who this guy is, who looks like he's sticking his tongue out, that's actually his beard. That is Arnie the Corsair.
Arnie the Corsair.
All right.
Get it? Arnie.
Oh, God, stop it.
But the Division III canceled their tournament. I don't know if you all are aware of that. Because they were going to play Division I, Division II, and Division III, all in Indiana in March. Division III canceled the nationwide tournament because they said the threshold to have a national championship is 60% of your teams competing, and only 48% of the Division III teams nationwide played this year. So
now, where is Division II? Are they holding that in Indianapolis or?
No, one was going to be in Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne?
That was Division III, I think.
I could see Fort Wayne.
Division II, Evansville, yes.
Oh, that's they finally have an interstate. Almost have an interstate between Indianapolis and Evansville. That's 69 to get down there. So
nice.
There's a few arenas down there. I know they have at least 2 arenas you can play at. Maybe more. Obviously, they're not doing the high school venues. That's something we all talked about when they first announced they were playing all the games here in Indy about some of our high school gyms, but they're on high school campuses and they're not regulation sizes. So, yeah, that's why they're not playing. Plus, you can't serve alcohol, which I don't know if you can serve at NCAA, can you? Or has anybody been to a Final Four where you had beer?
I went to a Final Four hockey, and that was one of the drunkenest days of my life.
Okay, well, maybe that's the case.
There's your answer.
I think it usually has more to do with campus.
Okay, so
opposed
maybe
to
the venue.
And those restrictions are relaxing too. I've
Yeah.
been to some on-campus places that are now serving limited beer. But
Hey, just to clarify, so I don't sound like a schmuck here any more than I usually do. The leveling off of restrictions, totally for it. Vaccines being distributed, that's the whole point. Going from 0 to 100, no. Just wanted to point that out from the comment I made earlier. Just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
I don't think I'm saying anything outlandish. Not cursing anymore on this show. So I just wanted to calmly explain what I meant earlier.
So you know what I think is a little strange about this tournament? And maybe it's not strange, I guess, but it's almost sad. So since we got to more than 64 teams, right? Since they started doing the play-in game and the first 4 and whatnot, that game every year is played in Dayton at the University of Dayton. And this year, obviously, since everything's in Indiana, the first 4 is going to be at Purdue. 2 of the games at Purdue, 2 of them at IU.
Isn't Dayton right over the state line? It's close enough.
Dayton is 2 hours from where I live, less than an hour over the state line. So technically, you probably could have played it in Dayton.
See,
You're
in
that
that
close.
space, you could have visited 4 New England states, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, or they could have played it at University of Miami, Ohio. That's right over the border. But it's interesting. Coming from an Indianapolis perspective, a lot of people are excited about the downtown business because Lucas Oil and, of course, Bankers Life are in that downtown sector. Butler is a little bit north of downtown, not terribly north, but obviously you're going to have traffic with people going to the fairgrounds, which is also north of downtown. Businesses are looking forward to this. They've been hit very hard. You did have some protests early on here. Some people got hit by that. So they're looking for some downtown business. They're looking for some just way of life, trying to make ends meet. So from a local angle, it's going to be pretty wild. I don't know what it's going to look like with crowds downtown, what it's going to look like around the circle where they may put some TVs up. We have some pedestrian areas where they might do that as well. I really haven't heard too much about those plans and what that's going to look like. But, I mean, I have friends already pushing for, following Texas's lead and pulling off her mask. But I don't think we should go that route right this moment.
Have you had the privilege of going to a Final Four, Mark, or downtown India anyway for a big?
Yes, I was there when Florida won its second in a row. I did not go to the game, but I was downtown. I was outside of Lucas Oil. I bought a UCLA championship shirt for $5, bootleg from some vendor. I thought that was cool to have. I did get involved in all that excitement. I followed the team back to the hotel, saw Rick Pitino, but I wasn't inside the building. I was just outside with the crowd. So that's the closest I've been to a Final Four. But it happens here every 4 or 5 years, so I don't know why that's my only one. I probably should have made a few ventures down there.
What's the city look like during the tournament?
Well, right now, I wish we had a picture we can show you guys. We have on the Marriott Hotel that giant blue building that is in the backdrop of Victory Field. There's the bracket, and they do that every year. They have some sort of bracket that they post up there. I don't see a lot yet. I know in the Big Ten tournaments down here, they do rename the streets after all the universities that participate. So I think we're going to see a lot of pomp and circumstances with decorations, basketball themed, college themes, when that time comes. But, like this is brand new. It's going to be multiple venues hosting the Final Four. And it's kind of cool that you're going to see some basketball being played. Like personally, I'd rather the Final Four get played at a basketball venue rather than a giant dome stadium. I mean, I get why you do that. You want to pack as many people in, but I mean, those sightlines are god-awful from my experience at the Sky Dome in 1996. So
that was going to be my next question, yeah. Has anybody on our panel been to a basketball game in a football stadium or a baseball stadium? What's
I
that
have, for sure.
I have, yeah.
As a visiting fan, what is that like?
Well,
terrible.
I was at the 08 Sweet 16 Elite 8, and that was held at Ford Field. It was the year before they held the Final Four at Ford Field. And, buying tickets is a bit of a crapshoot, right? If you're going through the NCAA and the lottery and 08, I would say that StubHub was not as huge as it is now. StubHub fees were a real thing and tried to steer clear of StubHub. So you end up going in kind of the lottery and you pick like a price range and they just, here are your seats, boom. So it's a lot less like, Ticketmaster or whatever, where you're used to kind of choosing your seats or the sections or whatever. So I was in the corner. I would have been right there for a nice Calvin Johnson, touchdown reception. It would have been perfect. But for basketball, I was definitely too low. So the sight lines were really bad. And really the only thing that made it it was unique. I'd never been to a NCAA playoff game like that. And it was only the second time I'd seen NCAA basketball at all. But 2008 in Detroit was the Steph Curry look at me show. So Steph Curry played for Davidson, and he blew the doors off of Wisconsin, and then came within. They lost to Kansas in the Elite Eight, and Kansas went on to win the national championship. So really what they do wrong to me is that they put it right in the middle. I've also been to Syracuse, and Syracuse is a football stadium. It's the regular spot. They play in the Carrier Dome, but they push the court up to one end. And honestly, Syracuse is one of my favorite venues. If you get, think about it. Excuse me, a normal NCAA basketball game, you're looking probably 12,000. Like a big arena like Kentucky is about 19 or 20. Syracuse, for a good team, like a good opponent, you're getting 35.
Oh yeah.
Which is really neat. So Syracuse, I had a blast. Ford Field, not so much.
No, I like I said, I saw a game at the Sky Dome NBA. It obviously was not a Final Four, but we had $5 tickets, Steve Key and I, and we were up in the nosebleeds. So it was something cool to see because we were young. A $5 ticket was nice. I would say another time I was close was in St. Louis when I went to the Arch Madness, but I just remember that was actually played at what was the Kiel Center at the time. But I don't know. It's in Indiana they play high school. They used to play the high school state championship games at the Hoosier Dome 30 some years ago. That was 25, 30 years ago. That's how big it was, because they'd get 40,000 people to see a game. The demand's there. Yeah, I get you're going to play those games there.
Now, would they do the center court configuration back in the Hoosier Dome for those?
I think what they did is they put one of the stands in the center. I'm trying to think. I don't think they put the court in the center. They push it towards one of the ends of the seating bowl, and then they will push aside. If you go on YouTube, you can type in 1990 Indiana State High School Championship 91, 92. They'll show you what it looks like. It's probably similar to what they did in Syracuse, because both stadiums were identical to one another,
right?
In design and features. So it's I tell you, we're just excited about having live college basketball in our neck of the woods, So you believe you may 25% of, I don't know how many you can fit in the Hoosier. I keep calling it Hoosier Dome. I don't know how many you can fit in Lucas Oil, but I'm thinking 50,000. Is that
so? 15, probably a crowd of between 12 and 15,000, right?
Yeah.
If they're running two courts, are they going to?
Oh yeah, that's not going to be 50,000.
Are they going to reconfigure for the?
Will they put some stands down the middle in between them, or are they just going to be side by side?
I'm not sure what it's going to look like.
I think that's a missed opportunity. That would be awesome to have two games going on simultaneously.
It's a lot like the at-home experience for March Madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where your remote control is starting to smoke because you're flicking back and forth so much, and the batteries are dead. Or
if you've ever been to a pro tennis tournament where you can just wander the grounds and watch all of these different things. I actually, once I started thinking about it, I can understand why they wouldn't play two games at one time, because you would have buzzards and different sounds going on. It could mess with the other game.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But then why have two courts?
So I would say that, I mean, in my experience, the best games, and on television too, right? When is really the bread and butter of March Madness? It's that first weekend, right?
Right.
And those are are the most fun games too. I got a chance to go to Buffalo, and you know, as fans, we often are critical of, like the home team, right? So, how often has Duke played at Greensboro or something like that, or North Carolina played at Greensboro, but they do need that draw. In Buffalo, it was Syracuse, and it's really strange because you got a lot of different kinds of fans. You've got those followers of whatever teams are coming in. You've got people who are like me, who are in for the marathon, where we were going to watch 4 games in a day, and 2 games the following weekend, right? And it didn't matter who was playing. But it's neat to sit there and you watch the rotation of the fans, and that those guys like Syracuse, if they lose in the first round, those fans are out selling their tickets for the next round, right? Because they're not sticking around; they're going home. But totally unique experience.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's I know friends that take time off from work and have friends over. My buddy Chris Moline that I play kickball with, that's his annual rite of passage. Those first 2 days off, friends coming over. Of course, here in town, we head to Broad Ripple or we head downtown to watch the games at the bars all day, and just live like we're in college again. It's quite the thing, and like we're going to be doing this as the games are going on, right down the street from us. So that's another interesting aspect. What is the bar scene going to look like here in town? Obviously, what's the bar scene going to look like in other states? Who's have fans rooting for their teams and other teams to win?
Well, one of the things I think is is interesting and different is how is, especially bubble coaches, right? For big schools, they complain that these small schools get automatic bids, right? I think a lot of people don't know how the tournament works. Every conference gets one automatic bid, and that's it.
You're right.
And in every conference, even now, before the Ivy League was kind of the lone holdout, but every conference gives their automatic bid to the tournament winner. So whoever wins the Big Ten tournament gets an automatic bid to the NCAA. Everybody else is at large. So those bubble teams, their coaches get mouthy about whether or not those mid-majors should really have a spot, right? So would an Illinois, not this year, Illinois is really good, but an Illinois who is right on the bubble and they're not getting a space because Canisius wins the Metro Atlantic and they get a spot. But that's what makes March Madness special, right? You could say, who won 4 years ago? Who knows? But if you say Sister Jean, everybody's going to go like Loyola, right?
Loyola, yep. And they're number 1 in their conference right now.
and Virginia, Virginia loses as a number 1 to a 16 the first time ever, and then the very next year they win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
UMBC, correct? Was that who beat
yeah.
them?
Without those little schools, March Madness is not that interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. Let's say UMBC makes our way to the Final Four. How many on a normal year? How many of their fans are coming compared to a Virginia, compared to a Duke? So there's that other aspect. But yeah, it was great when what was that? George Mason, was that the school that made it to the Final Four?
George Mason made it 1 year, yeah.
Or back in the day when Penn made it.
Yeah, it was just, some random schools that you hear from. Or when Indiana State made it in 79 with Larry Bird, nobody was expecting,
They were undefeated.
They were undefeated, but, you tell somebody now about Indiana State and they're like, really? They made it to the Final Four? And then you tell me you had Larry Bird and like, oh, okay.
Loyola made it to the Final Four, right?
Yeah, they were a few years ago. I was in Chicago watching that game.
I was really torn on that one because, I love the Loyola story, but then they came up against Michigan.
Yeah.
It was my team. I was like, ugh.
Okay, you had your fun. Time to
And
turn your back.
Michigan sent them
pumpkin.
packing.
Yeah. Well, I think they're two this year in the MVC. So if they do make a run, hopefully it's not going to be considered a freak show. Like they're legitimately good.
Yeah, well, think about Gonzaga a few years back.
Gonzaga
They were
was
considered a Cinderella, and they used that year to really springboard into becoming one of the big boys.
Yeah, look at Wichita State. They used to play like I went to Indiana State. Wichita State and Creighton used to be in our conference. Now, because they had such strong programs and they had some nice runs. I think wasn't Wichita State undefeated a few years ago, and number one in their rank.
Which team we lost you there for a second?
Wichita State, the Shockers. Weren't they undefeated heading into the tournament a few years ago?
I don't think they were undefeated.
Undefeated, okay.
I don't think that's happened since like UNLV or somebody.
Okay. Well, they might have been ranked 1 or 2. They were.
Well, you're in you're in undefeated country, Mark. Was it like 77? Was that the last time?
Oh, IU
the Isaiah Thomas year?
75-76. That was the undefeated IU team. Yep. They were undefeated, and a team from New Jersey called Rutgers made the Final Four that year. So,
last one.
IU fans. I know we talked that one episode about annoying fans. Not that I think IU fans are annoying, but sometimes they can get annoying, especially around this time of the year where they think they can make a run in the Big Ten tournament and then, make a run in the tournament itself. So
now
I think Rutgers put them in their place the other day, so maybe they'll be quiet.
I know you've got a bit of a IU rivalry happening, but I got to say Assembly Hall is one of the most unique facilities I've ever seen. It is unlike anything.
I don't think you would want to build a venue like that anymore. It is a theater. To me, it looks like it's almost 50 years old. I think it was built in 1971. It looks like the main library of your local township. That's how we saw it. And up until a couple years ago, they didn't even renovate that. It looked exactly the same way it did when Bobby Knight first walked onto campus. Yeah. But you're
probably
right.
Bobby Knight's idea to not renovate it.
Yeah, it's like your seats are just whoosh all the way to the top in this very steep angle. And it's unlike any kind of gym that I've ever been to or will ever go to. And then at the end of the court, you have these small little student sections. But it's iconic. IU fans love that place. That is their mecca of college ball. They would not have it any other way. But from I guess an architectural standpoint, it's interesting. But as a fan, I definitely would rank some other gyms much higher than Assembly Hall at Bloomington.
Well, it's neat. If you look from the top down, it looks like a bow tie.
You're right. Yeah.
I was there. How long ago? I was there a while ago.
It's been 50 years since.
Yeah, they made the lobby. Yeah,
2009. I was there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
when I was there, they hung peach baskets on the wall.
When I was there, they had undefeated season just ended.
No, it was 2009, and unfortunately, because of the way the college basketball schedule works, I don't often get to I often see the worst scenarios in each spot. So, I was there December 28th. So the campus is empty, right? All the students have gone home for Christmas for the most part. But what made this worse is they were playing Bryant.
Oh, even better.
Bryant wasn't even a full-fledged Division I member yet.
Hey, Bryant is the best college team in Rhode Island this year.
Well, they were. It was their
on an 09.
It was their probationary year.
Yeah.
And that game was over. I think before the ref turned to look at the basket. Like it was It was over.
Yeah, I know those
Fast.
games. I've been to IU games like that too, when they're like when Indiana State was horrible, they would roll over them, but sometimes Indiana State would beat them. So the tables are turned. One thing they did well at IU is they renovated the lobby, and they have a lot of great memories and traditions and statues and hands-on screens that you can learn about the college. They have the old scoreboard. There's 5 distinct traditions that they do at games. Those are hanging up on placards that inform fans. A marvelous job that they did there. I mean, that lobby is very, very different from other lobbies that I've seen. The concession areas they improved as well, because those were bare minimum. I mean, it was if you went to a game there in 1975, you probably didn't change too much since then. So, yeah, Bloomington, Indiana, IU basketball, just I hate saying unique all the time, but it is. It's one of a kind. There's nothing like it out there.
And totally different from Purdue, right?
Oh, much different.
And I think it's fair to say that Purdue,
and that's a good thing.
The big rival. Yes.
Oh yeah, they're rivals.
So, I would say IU is probably more comfortable than Purdue. Purdue reminded me of
with basketball. Football be opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Purdue actually Mackey Arena reminded me more of a college football venue than a college basketball venue. It reminded me of going to the Big House, where I'm sitting on a bench and the dudes are in my back behind me, and I'm scrunched up, and I'm in the dude's back in front of me, and but loud. Oh boy.
Yes,
easily the loudest.
Yeah, one of the
venue I've ever been to for college basketball. It was amazing, and I saw I was there in 2018, and I was lucky enough to see them play a very good Penn State team, which is unusual. Penn State not normally good. They pulled it out by 3. So Purdue, I mean, that they were ranked that year, so it was just a madhouse. I don't feel I got to see the real Indiana Hoosiers, but I feel like I saw the real Purdue experience there.
Yeah, no, you're right. When I did my review of Mackey Arena, I think I gave the fans a 4 out of 5, and I had a few Purdue alum contact me and yell at me because that should have been a 5. We have the best atmosphere in college basketball, blah, blah, blah. And, and then if you talk to an IU fan, I'm going to tell you how bad the rivalry is. There are some IU fans that will not step 1 foot into Mackey Arena. My friend Aaron, who graduated IU, doesn't even want to have a conversation about Purdue basketball. Doesn't even want to go to Mackey Arena. Now, her husband's a Purdue graduate. She'll make him go to IU games, but she will not go to a game at Mackey Arena because that's the rivalry there. In fact, when we try to get press credentials, I don't even bother asking for when those 2 teams play because you're not going to get those tickets. They're not going to give you passes. The tickets are hard to get. And it is quite something unique to watch, especially when both teams are ranked, because Purdue was ranked pretty high a couple years ago when they were in the tournament. And did they lose to Virginia? If in overtime?
I think so.
Yeah, they were that close to making the Final Four, which I don't think Purdue has ever been in the Final Four. It'd be nice to have Purdue make it high, win a championship, and stick it to Purdue. Believe you me, the Purdue fans will come out of their shadow because they do take a lot of gruff from IU fans here. But, yeah, Mackey Arena, if you have been to University of Illinois, very similar building. That used to be called Assembly Hall. I think it's called State
I was
Hall
there
now.
the same day.
Okay, yeah, they're not too far. Those 2 cities are not too far from one another.
Yeah.
But yeah, very similar dome shape.
Round.
Yeah. Great
Round.
views. Yep. And I thought both are much different experience. Much different experience. The campuses are completely different. IU's a little more prettier than Purdue's, but Purdue has the XXX burger spot with the peanut butter burgers and a few other cool destinations. So what I like is that you're not going to both campuses and getting a very similar experience. You're getting a much much different experience, and you can actually say that about the two other schools that are going to be on this list too.
Right. And Purdue, they have that sort of inferiority complex, right? Like, what's the big cheer at Purdue? Regardless of who they're playing, it's just like the New Jersey Devils, right?
Poppin sucks.
IU sucks.
Yeah.
I forget, they brought somebody back, one of these alumni deals and led the cheer that IU sucks. So I was looking around, I was like, wait a second, guys, they're playing Penn State. What's up with this?
Yeah. Yep, that's the rivalry there. There's people with flags hanging out of their house, married couples that have that, gold and red flag hanging up, or black and red, whatever they do.
But I would say experience-wise, out of really probably the three best venues on this list for college basketball, I was wowed by Hinkle Fieldhouse and what it looked like, but the atmosphere there just didn't blow me away. Now maybe it was because, again, it's Christmas time and not everybody's there, but getting wowed by Hoosiers and everything, and that was really cool, but it just wasn't the same. Maybe it was because they were playing Ooey Pooey as well, and they were pretty terrible.
Yeah. Well, the last college game I went to was Butler versus Seton Hall. It was a packed house.
Oh, wow.
Crowd was insane. You had the band, you had the fans. That's a hard place to move around in some angles because of the way, it's an almost 100-year-old arena. But I have been to games in Christmas where they're playing. I don't know who they're playing. They're playing Wright State University, and you don't even have the band there. You have volunteer band playing. And you're right. It's dead as a doornail. I hate when that happens. That happened to me at the Palestra in Philadelphia. I was expecting this great crowd, and it's December 31st. Nobody's around.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Double-edged sword. If you could get there during a good time, it's all worth it. But you get there when you can, and at least say you watched a game there. But yeah, Hinkle Fieldhouse is at one time was one of the largest, if not the largest, place for college basketball in the country. It is an institution. I can remember, 10, 12 years ago, before the Bulldogs made a couple runs, that was an easy ticket to get. It wasn't that expensive, and you had plenty of room to move around. That is not the case anymore.
Right.
Brad Stevens put that place on the map, and rightfully so. If you ever read his story about how he became coach there, too bad he isn't there still. I think a lot of people really still love that guy for what he did.
Well, he may be unemployed pretty soon.
He may be unemployed. He'll be back. They'll take him back. But yeah, Hinkle Fieldhouse. I would say the only bad thing about Hinkle is the parking. It's not the best, but you park pretty much on campus or the residential streets that surround it, aka Wrigley Field-like. But it's that's part of the charm as well. You get to walk to the game with fans, and everybody becomes a Butler fan the day of the game.
You know what I find? What surprised me about Hinkle is, and it's like a couple other spots. The Calgary Saddle Dome is like this, where it's got this kind of long shape to it that you see outside, and you expect the ice or the court or whatever to be situated in a certain way.
Okay.
And it's actually the opposite.
Yeah. And well, so
Hinkle being like a long kind of barn-like structure, the court is actually not with the length. It's the other way. And
that wasn't always the case. It used to be flipped the other way.
Oh, they rotated it.
Yeah, they rotated it up until I don't know the year. I'm just gonna take a stab, say the 1950s, but I could be wrong. But if you walk in the lobby, they give you, and that's another great thing about the Hinkle Fieldhouse is the history of Tony Hinkle, the history of the arena, the history of the program, and they'll tell you that. They'll tell you the construction. They'll tell you how they rotated it. They'll tell you about the, that used to be the place for the, Indiana State basketball championship from like 1911 to 1971.
Well, when I was there, I found the plaque for the Milan Miracle, which
Milan.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
most people don't know it, but it was the.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
You haven't seen the plaque for it? Well,
I don't think I've seen the plaque. No, where's that at?
It's Hoosiers, right? Like it's
that's what it's based off of.
it's the inspiration for
Hickory
Gene
Huskers.
Hackman and his tape measure, and yeah, it's there. You go. They're all numbered, right? So it's number. If next time you're there, it's number 6 on the Hinkle Fieldhouse History Tour.
Okay.
Hey guys, I got some breaking college basketball venue news.
What's
The
up?
XL Center in Hartford. I don't know if you can see this. The wind has blown the sign off.
Oh.
So now we're going to just call it the L Center.
L Center.
Boy, the Mother Nature has not been kind to that arena in its history. Did its roof cave in back
Its
in
roof collapsed one time. Oh, the story about that. Quick diversion here.
L
That
for
happened.
loser arena that doesn't have a hockey team.
That's
They do have a hockey team.
An NHL team.
where was I? Oh yeah,
Oh, boy.
that happened just a couple hours after a sold-out basketball game between UConn and I believe it was UMass.
Yeah.
And there was a blizzard, and just like 2 hours, there was one person in the building. Is what I remember, if I remember correctly. Roof collapsed from the weight of the snow and poor engineering, and luckily the building had just emptied out, or that could have been just a catastrophe.
Well, you know what is a catastrophe? Right now, Michigan is losing to Illinois by 22. That is a catastrophe. It's killing me.
So
All
I
right,
guess
so where else is the tournament being held? The Indiana State Fairgrounds.
yeah, Indiana Farmers Coliseum.
Yeah, the
Which-
home of IUPUI, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, and only recently the home of IUPUI. That's not their ancestral home. That is a barn more known as a hockey place. That's where minor league hockey has every hockey team, with the exception of maybe the WHA team, played there. The Pacers actually played there their first few years before Market Square Arena was built. But that's more of a hockey barn. And up until a few years ago, it was a dump. They heavily renovated it. They had to close it down for 2 years. Beautiful place. I love it. It has that historic look from the outside. You've been there to see hockey. It has its pros and cons. I've been there for basketball, and unfortunately, maybe 200 other people were there with me. So it wasn't that exciting. You could check out my review on Stadium Journey, IUPUI Jaguars. Wasn't that exciting, and that's the thing that kind of kills me. I have never seen a game that has had a good crowd for the Jaguars. I know they're trying to build that program up. We're spoiled here with all the basketball. I'm surprised they don't get more people than they should. It's a big commuter school. Maybe if the team starts winning a lot more and more frequently, you may see some changes.
Do you think, and I really have no idea, but do you think part of it has to do with the IU and the PU, right? Like you have two schools who are mortal enemies that are trying to work together.
Yeah, and they both own the market, yes.
That part I don't really understand. And Fort Wayne was like that until, what happened? IU pulled out of that school, and now it's just Purdue Fort Wayne?
Yeah, it's Purdue Fort Wayne. Yeah, with IUPUI, students have the option of earning an IU degree or Purdue degree. So maybe it depends on your major. I think it used to be Indiana Central, I believe. They used to have another name, and then IU and Purdue both went in there to make satellite campuses. To make it a satellite school. But they're building, they're building a lot down there too. It's becoming a bigger school than it used to be. It's located near downtown, right next door. If people live on there, they're hosting the soccer team there again, the Indy 11. So it's getting a little bit bigger, but when it comes in terms of basketball, their arena is away from campus. They used to play on campus in a very nondescript gym. I don't know if they still play some games there from time to time, but they're really trying to make that program a little more noticeable. So you don't really hear about their basketball team all that much here, unless they're winning.
That venue looks like it could be venue. Like it could be great.
Oh, it could be amazing.
Just by the pictures that I'm seeing, and there are a lot of like classic sort of features, like
exposed pipes.
You got some pictures here in the lobby with like the old school ticket windows.
Yes, they kept those.
Like,
And
wow, that looks really neat.
yeah, and up until the renovations, that's how you got your tickets. You waited in line to get your tickets through there. It was amazing. I wish I would have. I don't know why I never did a review of not the Ice. I don't know who was playing there at the time. Was it the Ice? Yeah, the Ice, the Junior League Ice. I wish I had done a review. Last game I was there to see last hockey game before the renovations is the night Whitney Houston died. So I don't know what year that is offhand, but that place was a dump. So when they made those changes, it was huge. But yeah, it is a could be. It's a could be venue, but it's more of your hockey venues, more of the 4-H venue. It's more of, hey, let's parade some donkeys and cattle around during the state fair in the summer. Just basketball, it has a history there. And one thing I wish the arena did was promote some of that history, because there's a lot that they can come up with. I mean, the Beatles played there. You know, if the Beatles played there, promote it. They had an explosion there, a devastating explosion in the early 60s. That there's a plaque there. Unfortunately, some people lost their lives.
Yeah,
they need to promote that building a little bit more. It kind of gets sucked in with the rest of the fairgrounds and all that goes on there. But, you know, maybe it gets some new life this year with a little, like the whole nation's eyes on it for some games.
It sounds like the Coca-Cola Coliseum, which used to be the Rico Coliseum.
Yes. Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
At Exhibition Place in Toronto. And the Marlies have done a fantastic job with that place, because it was the agricultural
You're absolutely
center. And they kept the giant wooden old school livestock doors, and there's pictures everywhere. And you know, think about it, like the Marlies started off as a whole lot of nothing and have really built themselves a following, and MLSE has done a really excellent job with them and turning that venue into a home for them.
Yeah. Do they play any type of basketball there by chance, or is it?
They do not to my knowledge anyway. So the G League team plays in Mississauga.
Yeah.
So the 905 team, the Raptors 905, they play at well, what's it called now? Paramount Fine Foods.
Paramount Fine Foods.
Something.
You know what we haven't heard any issues with is the G League bubble. That seems to be going along pretty well.
I guess, yeah.
Although it's minor league basketball, if something was going wrong, would we even know about it anyway?
We would not know about it. Yeah, but yeah, you're definitely right. The fairgrounds, which it was called the Pepsi Coliseum for many years before the renovations, it's definitely a could be. You know, it's beautiful. I love it. I love older buildings. I love how they kept the look and style of it. You know, it does have some narrow spots on the concourse. They have an upper deck that doesn't go all the way around. The food selection's getting a little bit better there. But, yeah, I would love to see that place packed for a basketball game. I mean, if IU were to play IUPUI for some reason, and that could happen, you know, or Butler was there or Purdue, yeah, you would see a huge crowd there. You definitely see a huge crowd.
All right, and what are our other venues for the tournament? We got
Bankers Life.
Bankers Life.
Home of the Pacers.
I was thinking Market Square Arena, but no, that's not the name of it.
Yeah, Market Square is gone. It's gone.
Bankers Life is probably one of the best NBA venues. It's designed. Its floor design is similar to I would say like Orlando and Phoenix and Brooklyn, where it's really all about basketball. You could put hockey in there in a pinch, and
it's like Brooklyn. Yeah,
it would be Brooklyn. Like, the sight lines are all messed up.
Yes.
So you really have something special on the basketball side. I think Milwaukee is like that too, because the Admirals don't even play at the new spot. They play at the old spot, the old spot.
The old spot.
The old spot. But yeah, it very Indiana feel to it, right? It's got that kind of field house. I think it's great that they've changed the name over years, of course, with the corporate changes, but it's always been field house, and it definitely is more of a field house than an arena.
Yeah, and I think when they first built that, I wasn't quite sure what a field house was. But when you walk into the concourse, you have these trophy cases that are full of not only Indiana Pacer history, but the state's basketball history from colleges, from old NBA teams. There's programs for, about Oscar Robinson, about the old Indianapolis Olympians basketball team from way back when, Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons. So they design it as if you're at a college or a high school and you're walking through their concourse and you're seeing their old trophies. Plus there's brick walls that have painted ads that are retro from new companies, but it's made to look retro. So I like that a lot. Plus that was going through a major renovation this past year. I know the Fever were supposed to play at Hinkle last summer. I don't know where they are with the renovations, but that's even going to increase, the atmosphere. That's going to make the atmosphere a little bit better as well. I think they're going to, add better sight lines in certain spots. So I don't know where they are with that right now. But yeah, that is a basketball first facility. They just put in a new scoreboard several years ago. I remember when I first saw that, if you compare that to the original scoreboard, which was made to look like a retro scoreboard with a video board, it was night and day. I was like, wow, we just jumped like 100 years, 50 years worth of technology overnight, because that thing was huge. And I mean, the crisp images, now a lot of gyms have those type of jumbotrons or video screens. So, and you're downtown, you're next to everything. I mean, you're walking distance from bars and hotels, shopping centers. You're within walking distance from Lucas Oil. So yeah, it's a prime spot.
Lucas Oil the same too. It's got that it's got that Indiana feel. It's built on the outside to look like a
warehouse,
big field house.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, and we had this conversation before. When my dad looked at that stadium, he's like, "That looks like a giant warehouse." Like, why would they build that? And then I go to Atlanta and I go out to Phoenix and I see what they built, or even Minneapolis, and I'm like, okay, that looks awesome. But that I think in Indiana they want everything to kind of match the decor of a certain district. So the field house was made to look like an old basketball, and I guess field house. And of course, Lucas Oil was made to look like the buildings within that area there. But once you get inside, it's amazing. You can't complain. I'd rather watch football there than see a Jet game at that giant sardine can at the Meadowlands.
I mean, who wouldn't rather see anything other than a Jet game?
Well, I'll be honest with you. This last couple years, yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Ooh, $98 to see the team lose, and then not go winless.
Real quick, I figured out what bothers me about the Jets so much. They're modern uniforms, but the old version logo, when they had that Jets logo, that they don't use it baffles my mind. Since for Stadium Journey, aesthetically drives me crazy. But that's just me.
Yeah, they could have done a better job.
My God.
But getting back to Lucas, Eddie Hoops just sent me a message. He said he was there in 2015 when Duke won.
Nobody gets a shout out for Eddie Hoops. No.
Why not?
I'm just kidding.
No, Eddie Hoops, yeah. So he was there. So Eddie, send me a message on Twitter. Tell me what that was like. How are your tickets? What was the atmosphere?
Send some pictures.
I mean, I was there for Florida, but I was on the outside.
Go Duke.
It was fun. It was fun to be on the outside. It was a lot of fun.
The only team consistent in my life. Go Duke.
I probably could have scalped tickets. Looking back, I should have. I could have had a lot to say on this episode if I only knew.
You should have a lot to say in this episode, local guy.
Would have had more to say.
Lucas Oil is actually, I mean, outside of going to see the Dolphins, which is just more about my personal affiliation and my personal history to the Dolphins, the Colts are probably my favorite NFL experience, and
okay.
It's the state. You're right. I liked what you said about how it just sort of fits, and we've complained about Soldier Field, how it doesn't fit, right? It doesn't fit within itself, let alone, the greater thing. And that seems to be more of a college thing where you want everything to sort of match and fit. In some of the most beautiful college campuses, everything looks like it fits. Notre Dame is a perfect example, whether it's the hockey arena that is almost brand new or Notre Dame Stadium, which, Newt Rockne built with his own bare hands back in everything was black and white days. They both look like they fit. Everything matches on the campus.
The LA Kings jerseys?
No cussing. We're going to get fined by the FCC.
What's that commercial where you ever see those commercials where the guy is teaching when you grow up to be your parents? Those commercials crack me up every time. We got to get in that sign. No mussing, no fussing, no cussing.
I just make a digital version that whenever I curse, that'll pop up.
Well, here's a random thought. Jared Goodman is at the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida, watching the USF Bulls, and there's like 100 people there, maybe less.
Well,
Okay.
Florida's open, I thought. So
Yeah,
have we visited virtually here all of the arenas? Did we miss any of them?
Nope, we got them all.
The Southport Fieldhouse. Just kidding.
So let me ask you all a question. Why are we all sitting here spending our time on a Tuesday evening, and all of our listeners or viewers, why are they joining in? What makes college basketball so special? Basketball? What's a basketball? Basketball so special?
Wasn't that a movie by the guys, the creators of
the South Park guys. Boy, was that an awful movie. But what makes college basketball so special that we want to talk about it?
I mean, if you are an alumni from a specific school that's a powerhouse, and your team is ranked 1, or if you're an IU fan, you think you're going to win your 6th championship, yeah, you go nuts. Brackets. There's people that have no interest in college basketball per se, but they want to make that bracket.
Yeah, we don't do a college World Series bracket.
No, and there's no rhyme or reason to. You just make a bracket, and it's always that one person that it's somebody's girlfriend that wins everything.
I pick based on which is the more powerful flower.
Yeah,
well,
she just picks. So everybody gets involved.
That's been the failure that I think the NBA and NHL have, right? It's the whiny teams at the top who have cried that they need to reseed in the playoffs. Well, once you reseed in the playoffs, there is no bracket. You can't do it, right? It makes no sense. Well, I thought that one of these two teams was going to play in this round, but they're not. They were supposed to, but the pure simplicity of the bracket and its breadth, right? So because it's 68 teams now, it's just so hard. I mean, Warren Buffett offers $1 billion to do a perfect bracket every year. Do
you know what the odds are to get a perfect bracket?
It's in the trillions, isn't it?
Yeah, you have a better shot of being hit by lightning twice.
Twice. But if you go past March Madness and you go into what makes college basketball special, as a traveler, you are avoiding what has become in the NBA and NHL, right? And we've talked about this, where it just seems like we're looking at the same place over and over again. These arenas come in all shapes and sizes, and they all have their own atmosphere. Whether you're talking about Syracuse, which is a football stadium, and they get in 35,000 for basketball, or like Niagara, which brings in 3,000 in what you might think of as a high school gym. I think college basketball does a great job of getting the venue size right. So most big programs do not have these massive sort of NBA, NHL sized capacities. So, you got like a Michigan and Michigan State where they're around 12,000. Some of I think Butler is either 10 or just under 10. It's got a totally different feel to it.
It's also small.
And when you've got lots of people there, and you got the band, and you got the cheerleaders, and you got the students, student section in basketball is even better than in football because they all have little things. I mean, people would go to Duke to watch the students do their thing, as opposed. Who cares who's on the floor? Oh, Duke is playing Bryant, whatever. But the Cameron Crazies are there, and they're doing their dance, and they've been out for 3 days in their tents and everything, and it's just so unique.
I just want to let all my friends at Bryant University know that this is not coming from me, all these digs at the fine people at Bryant University.
I would love to see a game at Bryant, but when I saw them, they were pretty bad. But I've never been to Bryant.
You're not missing much.
That was on you, man.
Bryant's one of those fine suburban colleges, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but like getting back to Butler, 9,100 people. I always think it's 12,000, but my goodness, that's under 10 grand. That is small. And you're right. It's just the atmosphere. It's the band. It's the student section. It's the cheers. It's the chants. And you don't get that at an NBA game. You don't get that at an NFL game in some regards. So it's truly a loud, very spectacle experience, and gets hyped during the tournament.
And as a fan, it's becoming the antithesis of the NBA. So the NBA is heading in a direction where the teams are almost irrelevant. And Mark, you probably see this with your students. I mean, are there more Laker fans, or are there more LeBron James fans? And if LeBron James picked up and went to Sacramento, how many fans would just go with him? Right? Not that LeBron James is ever going to go to Sacramento.
No, you're absolutely right. I remember there was a time when no one rooted for Golden State, and then overnight everybody was a Golden State fan. Yeah,
and college basketball is totally different, right? If you're an alumni, you're alumni for life. The turnover for players is so quick. Even at like Duke and Kentucky, how do you even know the players? Like, they're gone before you blink, right? With these one and done players. But Kentucky Rupp Arena is massive. It's like 19,000. It's huge, but they still pack the thing. For whoever, we don't even care who John Calipari is bringing in. A whole new crew, great, whatever. We're still there. It's still Kentucky, and I think that also has to do with the locations. So what else are you going to do in Lexington, Kentucky? Not a lot.
Well, about 500,000 people there. You can get some good bourbon.
Yeah, but every state has a college town. Right? What
I would
football's that too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. New Brunswick, New Jersey is a very terrible college town, but then that's where Rutgers is at.
And the Northeast, it's so funny that
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, Are You Hungry is nice.
MSG was like the place for college basketball, and the NIT was there, and everything, like, it was the place. But like, if you think of New York, you're not thinking of like, who's the New York college? You have to think about it for a while. Oh yeah, I guess St. John's or whatever.
St. John's might be the one that they talk about the most, but if they're not winning, you're not talking about them. Now, Seton Hall is in the New York market. They're over in New Jersey, but where they're located, I think it's West Orange. That's not much of a campus either. Very small.
But Seton Hall did that Big East thing, right? Where
Big East,
where Dave Gavitt started the Big East and made the big push and made a conscious effort to get these big schools and their programs out of their smoky, dingy gyms and into the big facilities. Right, and so Seton Hall, I don't even know. I'm sure they have a campus playing, but they play at the Rock now.
They
right?
play at the Rock, and I think they do have a campus spot, but I don't know. They used to play at the Meadowlands Arena, but yeah, they play at the Rock now. But sidetrack, Eddie Hoop said the atmosphere at Lucas Oil was incredible. for the Final Four games. After it got down to just 2 teams, it was a lot more serious, and a lot of the casual fans went home.
Huh.
If that makes sense.
You figure the final would be replete with casual fans.
Well, I mean, could you imagine going to a Final Four when you have like the 4 biggest schools in the country there? How insane that would be. Like if you had Kansas and IU and Duke and UCLA,
Brian.
or Oklahoma, not Oklahoma, Texas. I don't know.
Nebraska. If you're saying the 4 biggest, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm a little bit
North
off.
Carolina.
Yes, there you go.
Duke.
Yes.
Kentucky. And I don't know.
IU could be up
Kansas.
there. Kansas, yeah.
I wouldn't say UCLA anymore.
No, UCLA. I guess
Not
you're
anymore,
right.
no.
Yeah.
So where's your favorites? What are your favorite NCAA basketball gyms you've been to?
Oh my niche. I love Purdue. I thought Purdue was a lot of fun. Very similar to U of I in terms of design, but yeah, Purdue was amazing. I'm trying to think wherever else I've been to. Princeton University had a very unique gym. It was just very pretty to look at. I was
That
like,
makes sense considering everything else that's on Princeton. The
Yeah.
hockey rink, the football
everything
stadium,
on Princeton is just it's an oddball looking design there, and I mean you could get so close to the action there as well. I was just in my seat underneath the rim. Kansas. What's their gym?
Fog Allen.
Allen.
Fog Allen was incredible too because that's kind of a squashed in gym. Cameron Indoor, you're squashed. And I just saw practice there. I didn't even see a game. They let us in to watch practice one day. And I'm thinking, wow, can you imagine this place packed with 9,000 plus fans? That must be something else.
Isn't that just bizarre how
That's how they like it. They don't want to change.
I think it's fair to say the most popular NCAA team in the country,
Yeah.
at least media-wise, plays in one of the smallest gyms. They could build it.
It's an anomaly.
They could build a Rupp Arena size thing
Yeah.
and fill it. I'm sure, no problem. But
Yeah. And Louisville, I've been to see a game at Louisville, but that's 22,000 people. But that felt more like a professional game. That didn't really have that college atmosphere.
definitely,
Because you're in some parts of that gym where you're high up as well. You're like, man, 22,000. I mean, it's a big gym. You don't realize it until you walk in. It's a gorgeous gym. Beautiful views. You got all the bourbon you want, great food selection. But then if you walk all the way to the top, it's kind of in the fine line between college venue and pro venue.
we did like the ultimate college basketball weekend, Jackson and I, a couple years ago. So we caught Kentucky in the afternoon, drove down to Louisville, caught Louisville Saturday night. Sunday morning we drove to Illinois, and then Sunday night we caught Purdue. And all different venues, different feels, but man, did we have a great time.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's another fun, taking those trips, especially with your son, or if you're a son going with your father, getting all those unique experiences and seeing things on the road. And it's a blast. And I miss that. I miss going to different venues on a road trip.
Well, for me, college basketball, it kind of crept up at me. Like I've been to 46 different spots.
Wow.
Not including tournament, and it just sort of like, really? How did this
becomes
happen?
addictive. Yeah, it becomes addicted.
I can't believe my number is almost as big as yours.
No.
46?
No,
And-
I'm half
and-
it. I'm 23.
And I've been to some bad venues too. I've been to the Coliseum in Fort Wayne where there's
I have
5
too.
people there.
California Riverside was nothing to write home about. But there's some of the
Wait, I've
ones
been to 24. I forgot one.
some of the ones that I enjoyed a lot were ones that I never expected, like Oakland. Just a small school, Horizon League, great gym. Maybe probably smaller than your Indiana high school facilities, but great gym, great fan support. Toledo was a blast as well. Love going to Niagara and Canisius. They're close. I would love to be able to see a great game with a lot of support at Detroit Mercy, because Callahan Hall would be amazing if they could put people in it. But even, some of the ones that I've seen at Christmas have surprised me. Florida was a great game over Christmas. Florida State was great. I didn't expect much out of either of them. Of course, love going to Michigan. But
that sounds fun.
There haven't been too many. St. Bonaventure in the middle of New York ski country, just
nowhere. Yeah.
Nowhere. And oh wow, what a fun time that was. But yeah, you could everywhere. Like I look at my list and I go, yeah, that was great, and that place was great. Notre Dame was great. I had fun at Penn State, and they're terrible. It seems to be one of the things that where I just don't feel I can have a bad time. Even Paul, when we were squashed up in Vermont.
Oh my God! Now you talk about atmospheres. That little gym with nothing but bleachers that crammed like 4,000 people into this tiny high school gym. Wow, what an atmosphere! And yeah, you couldn't take a deep breath without moving your whole row.
Yeah. Not much space, but man, they love their basketball. They had the saxophone guy do the national anthem. I actually stumbled upon that picture in a YouTube video where they did not give us credit. Like, what's up with that? You guys just steal my picture of Dave Grippo and the Vermont Catamounts.
Yeah, I know. I know one basketball gym that's near me, University of Dayton, is known for their fans and known for an eccentric atmosphere. And it's a gym that it doesn't look that big, but it's dug in. So when you walk in there, the place is packed, and it's one of the great experiences of college basketball. So you don't really have to go that far. You can go to a small gym. You can go to a very unique looking gym, or a gym that's kind of a little bit oddball. And you're right. The fans are there cheering on. It's going to be exciting. Like I said, I went to the Plestra and there was nobody there, but I'm sure if that place is packed, especially against another Philly school, you're going to see a different story. And that could even be the case for where was I? It was Lehigh College in Pennsylvania. That oh my goodness, outdated venue, very outdated venue. And there was not too many people there, and the surroundings it was like right over a giant mountain. The campus is in a mountain, and this was on its own little area. It was so dark and dank around the whole gym, but once you got inside, that place could come alive too with a lot of fans. So.
Well, and you go to some of these places and then you get the surprise, right? Like Jackson and I went to Central Michigan last year, and they have a bronze statue there of Dick Enberg. Never would have called it, retired number for Dan Marley, right? I never knew, but wow, you like finding those little nuggets in the little sports hall of fame. Boston College, I love their sports hall of fame in the
right on the
Conti Forum.
Yep,
it's awesome.
Yeah, Boston College has stuff tucked into every corner of that concourse.
Yeah,
whether it's pictures overhead to cover up beams, or they've got displays of every player to play in the NBA. They've got their Hall of Fame at one end. They've got their honor roll at the other end. It's just a fantastic place to walk around. And banners everywhere, tucked into every possible beam that they could have hung something from, has something hung from it.
And to think, like, Boston College is most definitely not a basketball school, right? I mean, are they most famous for having a point shaving scandal that involved Henry Hill, Or, like, is there something else they're more famous for? I
Not
don't know.
Not basketball-wise, no.
But
No,
yeah,
that
it's
was,
just get out, and all of these spots are far from me. You know, get out and check them out. I mean, Mark, you mentioned the Palestra. How fun would it be to just go and see, you know, LaSalle against St. Joseph's in the
Yeah.
Palestra?
Absolutely.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah, I'd be, you know, and apparently you could go there and watch Catholic high school championship games, and that place is packed. And once again, the history, the hallways are spackled with, you know, photos and banners and traditions. Who of who has played basketball at
They have
that place?
the Big Six Hall of Fame, or Big Five, excuse me.
Big five.
Should be six, but it's
Yeah.
five. Big
Some
Five Hall
people
of Fame.
difference.
And that's just, you know, just those Philly schools, and you think, like, this is where Penn plays. I mean, for me, that was a little bit of a disappointing spot in that the game that I saw, it was back at the time when the Ivy League did not do a tournament, so it was the last game of the season, and Penn was playing Princeton, and Penn had no shot,
And that's their main rival, I believe.
and you know, there were a handful of people there.
Wow, that's a shame because that
Yeah,
should bring
it
out a big
was.
crowd.
It was
I saw them play Monmouth.
not the most comfortable spot for sure. I don't even know if you actually got benches or if they were just, you know, you just sitting on steps kind of
I
thing.
believe there were benches, yes, from what I could. You know, I think I have video from my visit to the Palestra somewhere. I got to put that together. But, yeah, there's just, you know, and the smaller the venue, the better. That's what I like. You know, I like Chicago's got some great venues that I haven't been up yet. You know, Northwestern redid their court. I would love to see a game there. I'd love to go to a Loyola game as well. That's a funky little place to see basketball. They're winning. I assume they're going to draw. I've been up to Valpo, which is not Chicago, but not too far from Chicago. Strange building, but once again, you got rabid fan base there going nuts. Not sold out, but definitely a lot of excitement there.
And if you're the kind of person who looks for like a big weekend, college basketball
Yes.
you can string a few together. I mean, we went.
Yeah.
My dad and I, we went and saw Xavier in the afternoon, Cincinnati at night.
Yeah, that's easy.
Piece of cake. You know, in the same city and everything, and both great basketball traditions. I would say the new Big East is a breath of fresh air into college sports. Really basketball centric. Bringing in Butler and Creighton and Xavier to go along with like Marquette and Villanova and Georgetown.
The Hall. Yeah.
They're almost that group of like upper mid majors who said, okay, we're ready for the big time now, and this is how we're going to do it. And the Big East, you know, those guys love their basketball, except maybe DePaul.
Well, yeah, and I've been to I think the Winthrop, I forget what it's called, but
I think it's Wintrust. I think you're right.
and they have a beautiful modern building. I mean, it's, you know, not only do you have these classics, you got some nice gyms for maybe you're not so popular schools to watch games at. But yeah, it's a mixed bag for me. Like I said, I've been to some great atmospheres, and I've been to some pretty putrid ones, like Chicago State. Whew, that was tough. That was tough to take in. And I think that was the day I did Chicago State in the afternoon, and then I did Valpo later on that night on my way home.
Right.
So,
What about you, Paul? What are your favorites?
I was wondering if I was ever going to get a turn.
sorry,
I'm
No,
there for
that's-
you, man.
That's
I
okay.
should have
That's
jumped
okay.
in.
You know what? I couldn't argue with the thing you guys said. Everything you guys said was true. Basketball, you can do fantastic road trips. I mean, I've done triple headers of basketball without ever having to like move my car in the city of Boston. It's been incredible. My experiences, I've been to 24 NCAA Division I arenas, all except one in New England. So the majority of them are, Mark, you were saying we have the little ones. Like you're saying, a lot of them are places where there's just some bleachers on the side. Hey, we're a Division I school. Who cares? We've got the big city ones. We've got, like the Dunk. You've got the XL Center, which we've talked about a lot. The Dunk is, without a doubt, the rowdiest place I've ever seen a basketball game in. If you ever have a chance, if you're in Providence and you can catch the Providence College URI game,
Ooh.
there are not a whole lot of bigger rivalries. I don't care what you want to say. There are, but that one is as intense as any other one. You've got the nice on-campus arena. UConn, when they play at Gamble Arena, 10,000 people jammed into this old, tight barn. Fantastic place to catch a game. A little place like URI's got a great on-campus arena, mid-size, maybe 6,000, 7,000 seats, but it's new, it's modern, it's a great place to catch a game. Some of my favorite places are these little ones like Boston University. They call their gym the Roof because it is on the roof of the facility. The ground floor is Walter Brown Arena, the old hockey rink, which is still being used by the women's hockey team, one of the only schools in the country where the women have their own facility. And then if you go up to the top floor, it's the basketball gym. It's fantastic. I have caught a basketball game at noon, went downstairs, caught a hockey game at 3, and then walked the block over and caught the men's hockey play at 7. What a day. What a day. All within a block. Little places like UNH, like Bryant. We've been kind of making fun of Bryant a little bit, but the Chase Athletic Center is a great little place to catch a game. 2,000 seat, comfortable, intimate arena. It's fantastic. Two of the things that you guys mentioned, Dave, you mentioned a surprise. And I've talked about this place on this show before. When we went to Los Angeles just over a year ago, and we had a few hours, you know what? I looked at the schedule. Hey, you know who's playing, who we haven't reviewed on the website yet? California Baptist University. Dragged Pam from the airport to Cal Baptist in Riverside. And oh my God, we were blown away by this brand new 5,000 seat arena with great sight lines, great amenities, great food. Everything about it was first rate. If you're in that area, if you're in the Inland Empire, check it out. Dave, yeah, you were talking about Cal Riverside. That's the same city. Old, simple venue, brand new, modern venue, right? You got that juxtaposition right there. But the one I wanted to talk about that stands out for me, for New England, is Yale University, the Cathedral of Sweat.
Ooh.
It's called the Cathedral of Sweat because the place looks like an old Gothic church. It's amazing. It's this giant, I think the Payne Whitney Gymnasium, I think is like the largest in terms of square footage, the largest gymnasium anywhere. It's like 5 or 6 feet tall. There's a track on it. There's racquetball court, squash. It's a whole complex. But the gym itself is this little gym. If you go in the front door, you take a right, you walk by the stuffed original Handsome Dan mascot that's in a glass case, and you walk through this, look like these old church gates, and you're in this old gym. You enter on like the second floor, and you look down on the gym, and it's got these old wooden benches that they feel and look like church pews. That's why it's kind of how it got its name. And on the walls, you're talking about things on the walls. They've got old school records for like track and field events that don't exist anymore. It's really amazing. Check out my review on the website. It's amazing to look at it. The Cathedral of Sweat is just a perfect nickname for it. So, yeah, you've got everything. I haven't been outside of New England hardly, and I can go from modern to something that was built in the 1910s and everything in between.
I'd like to check out a game at Stony Brook just because Eddie Hoop says it's great and we should go there, and he watches and listens.
Stony Brook. I think Eddie said that Stony Brook was the first team officially eliminated from the tournament this year because they lost in their conference tournament tonight.
Oh, okay. They're in their tournament already, are they?
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I gave us the kiss of death because I said we'll have a short and sweet episode today, and here we are.
Is it ever short and sweet?
They're all
when
sweet.
we get rambling, well, they're
They may be
sweet, but they're not short.
They're not short.
So this is usually the part of the show where we talk about our visits. Has any of us had any visits? Dave, I know you haven't. You've been advertising on your social media pages how it's been over a year now since you've been anywhere.
It was a year. It was just past a year. February 29th, Rochester. Yep.
I've,
And
I've been to the Trip Athletic Center about 8 times for UMass Dartmouth basketball.
I thought you were just getting COVID tests there.
Doing a little bit of everything.
I've actually had a visit, and I have 2 visits coming up this weekend too. So it's all basketball. I went to the Cascade High School Cadets Gymnasium, which is it's a very unusual gym. It's built in the center of the high school, and the concourse levels up in both sections are the hallways of the school, where you have lockers and classrooms. So it's almost as if you go into a high school and there's this pit of about 2,000 seats and you get to watch basketball. And very nondescript, but it was odd. I've never seen any kind of gym like that. It wasn't its own building. It wasn't roped off or, walled off anywhere. It was just kind of right there like a center court. And okay, let's go watch basketball. And it was permanent bleachers. They wrapped almost all the way around. It was a horseshoe shape. They had a concession stand at one end. And they had the colors of Columbia blue and black all over the place, which I liked a lot. So it wouldn't rank as one of my favorite gyms, but it was nice to see. And it wasn't too far away from a place called Brew Link Brew Pub in Plainfield, Indiana, which used to be an old Elks Club, and now it's a brewery restaurant. And that's where they had that Phil Collins logo beer that I sent to Dan. Ale of Confusion or something.
Genesis.
Yeah.
Genesis. Not the same. It's not the same thing.
Well, it had Phil Collins.
I actually got blocked from sending emails to the soft rock station in Philadelphia because they go Genesis and Phil Collins. I'm like, not the same.
You're listening at B101.5.
Yes, exactly. B101.1.
They're still.
And they just stopped replying after, and I believe they started saying it with more emphasis after they got the 5th email from me. Believe it or not, I was angrier than I was now.
Okay, well,
you have mellowed, huh?
Yeah, I mellowed a little bit.
Yeah, so it was a fun little night. I took State Road 40 instead of the interstate, and I also passed by a place that served Western New York style pizza. So it was square pizza. I don't know. I've never been out to Buffalo to have pizza yet, so can't tell you if it is legit, but it was good.
People from Buffalo will tell you is they have the best.
They do.
They're
do.
Wrong,
now, the pepperoni was not cupped. I said, "Where's your cup pepperoni?" I thought the pepperoni is cut very thick, so it curls up and traps the grease inside. I didn't see that. It was thinly cut. So,
if you want the best pizza, you have to go to New Haven.
Yeah, well, New Haven's good. Yeah, or
there
Detroit.
We go. Pizza episode.
Let's do it.
And what you got planned for the next coming weeks? Upcoming fortnight.
I am this Friday. I'm going to a sectional game in Richmond, Indiana, to the Tiernan Center, which just went over $1 million of renovations. It used to be the 4th largest high school gym in the country. Now it's 16 because they knocked out a couple thousand seats. But their attitude is we don't attract 5,000 fans anymore to our games, so we're going to lower the capacity, and they updated the sound system, and they added a new court. So I'll be doing a review for that. And then the other gym is on Saturday. It's the old Danville. There used to be a college in Danville, Indiana. They built this gym back in the 20s or 30s, but it's not used for anything. So a minor league basketball team is playing in there. It's in the ABA. Like I went to an ABA second generation league game 20 years ago, the night Dale Earnhardt died. I went to an ABA game. That's the last time I was at a game. 01. That was my first press pass I ever had from Indiana State University, the Statesman. They sent me out to the Hinkle Fieldhouse to cover this. And I didn't send me. I asked to go. It's not like they were looking for that review. So I went out there to cover the game. On my way back, I found out Earnhardt died, and then my story got bumped. So maybe my story will not get bumped this time. But, yeah, they're playing in an old gym that the team actually put money in, along with the county, to renovate it. So I saw some pictures. It looks kind of funky, and they have local businesses nearby the gym. So I'm kind of curious what that experience will look like. from the neighborhood and fan perspective. And the owner actually called me up. He was intrigued that I wanted to come out to review it. He wanted to know what kind of audience Stadium Journey is. So Tyrone Brown, we will be out there this Saturday. Hopefully you are as good as advertised.
And Mark, where can our listeners follow your adventures?
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube at Ballpark Hunter. Ballpark Hunter. Videos every Monday, every Thursday. I have them lined up until late August. So if I drop dead tonight, you get to watch my videos until August. You'll see videos.
Posthumous
videos.
We love it.
Yes. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
That's right. Okay. That's right. We have plenty more episodes of Stadium Journey to come.
Knock on wood. As for me on the podcast, that will be over. But my YouTube,
Dan, where can our listeners follow you online? Now that you're out of all the online jails.
No, I'm out of all online jails. Find me in my existential Flyers dread at all social media platforms at DanLaw83.
Dave, how about yourself? Where can our listeners follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Profan9. Thanks to everybody who has watched Obstructed Views last week, and we're looking forward to dropping a new episode next week. And since this is we were talking about anniversaries, as like last week was the anniversary of my last game. Sunday, March the 14th is my 10-year Stadium Journey anniversary. So 10 years ago, March 14th, my very first review of the Kitchener Rangers was published. So can't say that I thought I'd be around for 10 years, but yeah, crazy.
Geez, has anybody on that Stadium Journey team been around longer than you, Dave?
Maybe Sean McDonald. I'm
yeah,
not
but
sure.
Sean doesn't do much.
I'm not sure when
Stephen
Meg.
Burke.
I'm not sure when Meg came on. But yeah, there are not too many who have been around as long.
Yeah, I'm
as
20. I'm 2013, so I'm 2 years behind you.
I'm 2014.
Yeah, at least I think I'm 2013.
Wow.
Depends what my Facebook page says. Sometimes it. Oh, look what you did back 10 years ago. Hey, my first review for Stadium.
So, management team, I'm looking forward to that 10-year anniversary gold watch coming in the mail.
Yeah, be nice. Maybe you'll get business cards.
I already have business cards.
Oh, you
have
do?
to
Okay.
Stick around for 10 years to have business cards.
Yeah, I made my own. They're cheap to make, so you know.
Oh, and you can follow my Stadium Journeys. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. And, hey, I have a YouTube page, too. Not a whole lot on it, but I just uploaded a long-lost base brawl video, which is pretty cool, if I do say so myself. I'm at PuckmanRI. And don't forget to check out our website, stadiumjourney.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram at Stadium Journey. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook as well. Do all that good social media stuff. You can find the Stadium Journey podcast at vocnation.com or search VOC Nation Radio Network on the podcast aggregator that you use. And remember, if you're all still here, you know this, but for those of you who are watching later, we simulcast live every other Tuesday night at 8 Eastern at twitch.tv/danlaw83. We will be back in 2 weeks. That puts us at March 16th. Yes. We will be joined by Greg Larson. He is the author of Clubby, a minor league baseball memoir. It's a nice account of his 2 years working as a clubby for the Aberdeen Ironbirds. So join us then. Until then, I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada by Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect.